Yeah.
I like fat guitars. I have a very fat guitar at home.
I just wanted something light that could travel easily.
Yeah. You take a beating.
Yeah. It has.
Should we eat lunch?
Yes.
It's like everything you could wish for. It's like an opera singer of It's like hearing a favorite song while you eat your favorite cheese. It's funny songs, funny stories. It's songs in the key of funny. Funny songs and the stories behind them.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Songs in the Key of Funny. I'm Kristen Key. Welcome to episode 3 with Grant
Baciocco.
Baciocco! I was so
Baciocco.
close. This week we're going to get to know Grant, and every week we get to know an up-and-coming musical comedian, or a musical comedian that's been around for a while. But first we like to pay tribute to a musical comedian or a song from the past, and it's our classic song of the week. This week I asked Grant, because he had such an extensive knowledge of comedy music, what one of his favorites from the past was. So we could pay tribute.
And I chose Loudon Wainwright III's Dead Skunk in the Middle of the Road because it's easy to play.
It's an excellent song. Let's play a little bit of Loudon Wainwright III's Dead Skunk.
All right, here we go. Crossing the highway late one night, he should have looked left and he should have looked right. He didn't see the station wagon car. The skunk got squashed, and there you are. You got a dead skunk in the middle of the road. Dead skunk in the middle of the road. Dead skunk in the middle of the road, and he's stinking to high heaven. Play it. You got your dead skunk in the middle of the road. Dead skunk in the middle of the road. Dead skunk in the middle of the road, and he's stinking to high heaven.
As Dead Skunk in the Middle of the Road by, thank you, Sound Booth, Loudon Wainwright III. A couple quick facts about this song, because I like to, this is funny songs and stories behind them. I found out by looking on the internet that Loudon Wainwright III wrote that song in 12 minutes. It was kind of an accidental song, and people asked him, this was in 1972 that it was written, it didn't get famous till 1973. People would ask him, is it a metaphor, man? What does it mean? Like, is it for life? And he'd be like, it could be, but no, I just wrote it because I saw a dead skunk in the middle of the road. Loudon Wainwright III is also Rufus Wainwright's father.
Yes,
didn't know that. And that song has been played every Friday near 9 a.m. on Top 40 radio station KRRY in Quincy, Illinois since 1985. Every Friday.
Wow.
So
I did not know that.
well, that's my job, is to find something we don't know. So that was this week's Classic Song of the Week. Classic Song of the Week! Classic Song of the Week! All right, so now let's get to know our guests. Since there's no audience for me to introduce you to, I'll just introduce you to yourself. Here's what I found out about you. You were one of the lead puppeteers on Mystery Science Theater 3000's past season.
Yes, the brand new season's on Netflix. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You're the creator and owner of Saturday Morning Media, a transmedia company focused on quality, family-friendly content. Is that true?
It is true, yeah. I make family-friendly podcasts for the whole family to enjoy since 2004, actually.
Oh, wow, I didn't have that written down.
Yeah.
Well, you would know better than me. You worked for Jim Henson Company, and what did you do for them?
I still do. There is primarily the show is called Puppet Up Uncensored, and it's a live stage show that travels around, and it's sort of like Whose Line Is It Anyway, but with puppets. So,
Go to that?
well, you can June 17th on the Jim Henson lot.
That's
We're
really
actually
cool.
doing a show on the lot.
Do they do, my wife asked me to ask, do they do tours of the Henson Studios?
They not publicly. They do kind of do through Adventures by Disney, which is a.
What if we know you?
Well, if you know me, I could try and get you. There have been times where I can't because it depends on what they're shooting on the lot.
Cool.
Yeah,
We did
so you
that.
can let me
Okay,
know.
That's great. Let's see. Your ringside interviewer, championship wrestling
Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, yeah. I do ringside
Crap, that's
interviews
exciting.
for
Okay,
that.
we're going to talk about that. And your musical act, Throwing Toasters, has had multiple #1 hits on the Dr. Demento show. You've opened for Weird Al, and you've played all over the country. So that's a little bit about my guest. Now let's hear some. I want to hear a song.
Okay,
So let's just get one right out of the gate, so we know what we're getting into today.
Well, I was a substitute teacher for over 10 years, and so I figured I would write a song that would be okay for kids to hear. So this is my
good
kids
with
song.
that.
Yeah. Always remember to say please and thank you when you're taking candy from a stranger. Always remember to do what your parents say. You can do whatever you want when they're not around. It only takes 13 digits to call India. Stick a fork in the microwave and set it to 30 minutes. If you draw on the living room wall with a blue crayon, it will give you the power to fly. There's lots of tasty things to drink under the sink. Why not go and give them a try? Old people are really easy to push over. Have you ever watched TV in the bathtub? It's fun. Spend some time visiting with your grandma and tell her the family's betting on when she's gonna die. Spend some time playing with your little brother and convince him he's got the power to stop a moving vehicle. Sneak up and scare Daddy while he's shaving. Tape record Mommy when she's yelling at you and play it back when she's got friends over. Please don't do anything that I've said in this song unless you really want to be cool. Thank you very much. Don't do any of that, kids.
I was going to say, do you have kids?
I do not have kids.
Yeah,
no.
there you
No.
go.
No, substitute teaching beat wanting to have kids out of me.
Oh my God.
Like I never wanted to have children after I
How long did
substitute.
you substitute teach?
I was over 10 years, I think. Yeah.
What ages?
Everything. I did like preschool all the way up through kids who technically have graduated, but they have to finish a few more classes before they can actually get their diploma.
So you were just the guy that they called when teachers were hungover.
Pretty much. I was lucky. My later years substitute teaching, I got in at one school, and this one school would just use me all the time. So it was better than normal substitute teaching because the kids all knew me, and it's not like, oh, we're gonna give this guy a bad time. It's like, no, we know him.
Yeah, they're like, oh, okay, at least it's him.
Yeah.
So tell me, okay, about when did you write that song? What year was it?
Let's see. I've always kind of written funny songs, mostly parodies, just because fan of Weird Al, of course, and like.
Kind of hear the influence.
Thank you. Well, I love it. That's a huge compliment. I mean, like all throughout high school, I was writing parodies of songs and stuff like that. But I graduated in '96 from Cal State Long Beach College, and moved back home for a year. Yeah. Moved back home for a year. Now I'm really bragging. And I had a degree in theater, and I was going on auditions and stuff.
Bragging over there.
But I wasn't getting anything. And I was like, well, I want to perform now. How can I perform now? And I had written the songs. I actually written a song. I wrote a parody of Alanis Morissette's Hand in My Pocket called Money in My Pocket. And I had found some musicians to record that for me, and it was on Dr. Demento. But I couldn't play guitar. Like I didn't know how to play guitar or anything. And that summer that I moved home, I found a guitar that my mom had in the closet of, just shoved in a closet somewhere. And I said, hey, can I have this? Yeah. And I was such a fan of Barenaked Ladies songs. I would just learn how to play Barenaked Ladies songs on guitar, but then change the chords all around.
They're the perfect band to use as beginner, learn how to play though, because they're all the starter chords. They're perfect.
Yeah. It was really, and this was like in the early days of you could find chords on the internet. Like now, there's a million sites, but you'd have to kind of hunt, and especially for a band like Barenaked Ladies, which wasn't as popular.
Did you print them out? Like, did you print out the tab?
No, I think I would just sit in front of my computer and I had a chord book because I'd go, oh, how do I make that chord? And I'd look up on the, and like to this day, I think I still make a D chord, not the correct fingering, like the way you're technically supposed to do it, because I just kind of
I
taught
make it your way.
myself.
Yeah.
But
I think we do it right.
There you go. We do it right.
I can jump from other chords to that one.
Sure.
It's fine. It hasn't hindered me. I'm still not making money. I'm a comedian, so
yeah. There you go. So I think that one was I was a substitute teacher, and I say this jokingly when I do the song live, but I think it was like some second graders came in and they were singing like an Eminem song or something, and I was like, that's a little bit too young for kids, you know what I mean? Like, so I just thought like, oh, that'd be funny to write a song that like set it up as this would be a good song for kids to hear, but then it's like horrible. And in that song, I did tape record my mother yelling at me once, and then play it back when she had friends over when I was a kid.
That's hilarious. How did it go?
It did not. I got yelled at again. Yeah, it was not good.
Sexual performance
She almost-
is even better.
Yeah, broke the tape recorder. But and then I think I did drink like furniture polish at one point. I think I drank lemon scented fudge because it was lemon scented. So all those, some of those things are very autobiographical.
So you, who did you grow up listening to? Like, I know you're a big Dr. Demento fan, and like historian. Barbara said that you seem to know quite a bit about Dr. Demento.
Yeah, well,
that's the voice of God.
I heard Weird Al. That's like, I mean, I always kind of liked goofy songs, and I had a lot of records. Well, I heard Eat It was the first one, but then, like I was, and I got that, my parents, like, I assume got me that album when I was, like, right when it came out. And,
it's a great album.
Yeah, in 3D. And then he had an album before that, and I think I found, I was able to get that. Like somebody got that for me as well.
Dare to Be Stupid or before?
No, before that was just Weird Al Yankovic, his first one. And then I noticed that he thanked on both albums he thanked Dr. Demento. And I was like, oh, who is this Dr. Demento? I don't know who this is. And somehow found out that he had a radio show on KFOG in San Francisco. But it was on Sunday nights from 10 to midnight. And so I had to be in bed. Like, I was too young. I could not stay up that late. But my parents, my parents were so supportive. My dad would record the show for me. And I had this old boombox where if you turned down the volume, it wouldn't be loud, but it would still record at an acceptable level, the radio. And he would record, and the tape would pop out when it hit the end, and he would get up and turn it over and put it back in. And then when I had a Sony Walkman, I was supposed to be in bed, but I was listening to Dr. Demento every Sunday night. And I'd fall asleep listening. And so through Weird Al, I heard Alan Sherman, Tom Lehrer, the Smothers Brothers, and then my ultimate, huge idol is Stan Freberg. I just think the guy is just amazing, and his History of the United States of America is an album that everybody should listen to. It's just such an amazing album. So. But I was, I was listening to all those classic comedy musicians, at the time.
I grew up listening to the same. My dad, my Uncle David, my family's very religious, but my Uncle David turned my dad on to Dr. Demento, and I think it was, I can't remember if it was Wet Dream, I think was the song.
Kipadada,
Yeah, just the funniest song ever. And that got my dad listening to it, and then me and my brother would listen. And I think it changed to Saturdays eventually. Saturday mornings, or was it?
I think it was. It depended on where you lived.
Yeah. So Saturday mornings we was listening to it. So at the end of every episode, Dr. Demento would do a funny five, top 5 funny songs. If you had a funny 5 of all time Dr. Demento songs, could you put together your funny 5?
Well,
top of your head, and no one's reading it.
Top of my
You get it wrong. No one's gonna.
Well, I think Stan Freberg. I think Stan Freberg. He has a track on that History of the United States album called it's the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and it's this like skit that leads into a song, but it's Thomas Jefferson trying to get Ben Franklin to sign the Declaration of Independence, and the song is "A man can't be too careful what he signs these days." And so that would probably be number one, because I just remember, I vividly remember it was 4th of July weekend, laying in bed, listening on my Walkman, and hearing that for the first time. And like, what is this? Like, I need, and then at the time, like, the record was out of print. Like, you couldn't get it anywhere, and I didn't.
Before the internet, where you could get anything.
Right. And so I remember, like, it wasn't until college where I was like, I have to find this album, and it finally dawned on me, like, I can drive around and I can try and find this album, you know, to get it. So that would probably be my number one, just because.
It's a pretty powerful song that you would go drive around to find it.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to hear the whole, because I heard bits and pieces of the whole album, and I wanted to hear the whole thing, and it's you know, amazing, and it led into. Being a fan of that is what led me into, you know, podcasting, because I wanted to create a show that was like that, you know. And so, yeah, it's a huge influence. And then, to come all full circle, Stan Freberg did a voice on my podcast. So, like, before he passed away. So it was very cool to just complete the circle.
To meet all your idols. You opened for Weird Al as well.
I did, thanks to Barbara here at Flappers.
That's me.
Yeah.
I
want to do that.
I think Barbara was like, they called asking for another comedian, and he's not available. But I pitched them on this other. Yeah, it was really great, because also at the time.
The comedian's like totally available. I'm like, I would have loved to. No, sorry, you're not available.
He never has comedy musicians open for him.
Yeah, he never has comedy musicians open for him. So it was.
Except for.
Yeah. I'm not the only. Because I know there have been other comedy musicians who open for him, but that was an amazing day. Yeah, it was one
How long
show.
ago was it?
2007, June 16th, my brother's birthday. That's why I remember it.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Happy birthday to my brother. I get to open for Weird Al.
So you had number one. What was your number, like 2 through 5 on your Funny Five?
Of
Classic comedy favorites.
yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I got to put Weird Al on there somewhere.
What's your favorite? That's a tough one. But what would be your top Weird Al?
Like if you're looking at that in 3D album, that classic 3D, like for some reason I just love That Boy Could Dance, which is like totally an obscure thing.
Such a great song, though.
And and it's got an amazing, you know, and it's an original. It's not a parody. So that's on there. I would definitely, you know, Tom Lehrer. Tom Lehrer is A Christmas Carol, where he makes fun of all these different Christmas Carol songs. That would be on there. I'd have to put that on there. The Smothers Brothers. You know, just something as simple like I Fell in a Vat of Chocolate. That song. It was just called Chocolate. Let's see, one more.
Yeah, you're down to 5.
Who else would be? You know, Alan Sherman. Alan Sherman has a couple songs that are kind of named the same thing, but shticks of one half or another, I think, is one of them, where it's just kind of. It almost seemed, and I'm sure this is what it was, is like he had a bunch of parody ideas, but they were not strong enough to cover a whole song. So it's just him and a choir kind of singing these little snippets of different parody songs, you know, all in one song. And so I would put him in there too.
Good. And by the way, you won. You won the Funny
Thank you.
Five game. Congratulations. Yeah, you get to open for Weird Al again. I can't do that. When did you move from? So you started writing, I think, where every musical comedian starts, parodying, and then when did you move to originals?
That was, you know, when I got the guitar out of my mom. So that was, you know, probably 96, 97, and I started going out to open mics in San Francisco to do this, and I think I just kind of started, because I had a couple parodies that I would play, but I would just kind of start writing my own songs, and they were mostly like, especially back then, like kind of just weird, twisted love song type things. And I just remember like those early days in the open mics in San Francisco. Like I would go in, and as soon as they would call, and the whole gimmick was, because I had been played on Dr. Demento as throwing toasters, and I go, oh well, people know me as throwing. Nobody knew me, but like in my head, I was like, people know me as throwing toasters, so I have to be introduced as throwing toasters, but it's always just me.
Just one guy with
Right.
a band name. That's hilarious.
Right. So then it became like that became the shtick. Was I would say, oh, the rest of the band couldn't make it because of blah blah blah, you know, and I remember in those early days, like I would just get up on stage, and as soon as like, you know, because a lot of time open mics, even now, as a lot of other comedians.
And I would get up, and as soon as they saw the guitar, like comedians would get up and leave. And I just remember this one open mic at the One World Cafe in San
Doing that,
Francisco.
comedians. That's rude.
Well, they're just like, oh boy, here's the guitar. Yeah, everyone, listen, I was horrible.
You
Who
are going
wants
to have to
listen
follow
me?
it. Just suck it up and sit there.
Yeah. But the stage was right near the door. So like it was like just painfully, like you would make eye contact with somebody as they were getting up and leaving.
Going to
But-
smoke? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But, you know, anyway, so persevered and then, yeah, just doing open mics and then moved back down here after about a year of doing that up in San Francisco. And then started doing comedy out here. And then I met Barbara and Dave from Flappers at their Uncle Clyde show. And
Yeah, that's the thing.
then Barbara booked me, took me on as a client to do college shows and stuff. So I
Yeah.
did college shows for about 3 or 4 years.
That's a fun market, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, have you always written clean? Because you skew very clean.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, just because I grew up listening to the Dr. Demento stuff, and nowadays, like his show is online only. Like he still does his show,
Yeah.
and it's still online only. So now he won't play censored. Like he'll play anything. Uncensored, and he usually keeps it towards the later half of the show to play the dirtier stuff. But back then, it was all clean.
Yeah.
So
There could be innuendo and there could be puns, but there wasn't language.
Yeah.
You could get really dark, but
yeah,
I really
dead
enjoyed
puppies.
that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love Dead Puppies.
Yeah, yeah.
It's probably going to be our classic song very soon.
Yeah, but yeah, so I think so. And also I think my view on it is if you're clean, you can open up your market to a wider audience.
It makes money.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, more people will hear you, yeah, but also just as a complete greed bag.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, and I'm not saying as a money way, but it's like I've been at comedy shows where there's a kid in the audience, and backstage the other comedians are like, "Oh my God, there's a kid in the audience. What am I gonna do? What am I?" And to me, it's like, okay, well maybe I don't play this song necessarily. Not that I have dirty songs, but it's just like, oh, okay, I know that I can play this set of songs.
Really
and
no
it'll be
audience
okay.
you're afraid of because
Yeah.
you don't have to change your sets.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I can still play pretty much most of what I play.
And you have you also have an alternate persona, Mr. Grant, that does just
Kid songs.
kids songs. And I think
Yeah.
every Saturday at 4:30 there's an all ages show here at Flappers.
Yeah, that's mostly that's a lot of times where I play.
Yeah. So what's describe to me what's the difference between the Grant that I've come to know and love in the last 12 minutes and Mr. Grant?
Well, I mean, it's cleaner. Like I have a song called "I Hate School," and so it's the song that is about like all the horrible things that happen at school, and I hate school. And when I start singing it, the kids like cheer. Like the kids are like, "Yeah, we hate school."
I can relate to that.
But then the last verse
Is like, okay, this is for the adults. The adults is now I gotta pay bills and now I gotta do all this stuff. So stay in school as long as you can. Like that's kind of the. And I don't know if the kids they just like hearing me say I hate school.
Right.
and it's an adult saying "I hate school," and like immediately they'll look at their parents like, "Is it okay to laugh at this?" Because and then I have a lot of animal songs. Like I'll sing "Old MacDonald Had a Farm," but I will let the kids shout out suggestions for the animals. But I will say nothing that's ever been on a farm before. So no cows, no horses, nothing. So they'll go like a unicorn or like a dolphin, whatever, and then I'll make the sound of the animal, and they think that's funny. And then a couple cover songs, like there's an old song called "One Meatball" that I will sing a couple times, which is I don't know who the original artist. I know the Red Clay Ramblers version of it. That's where I heard it first. But that's an old song. And there's another song called "Bessie the Heifer" that little Jimmy Dickens sang.
And that I get the whole audience like pretending that they're milking a cow. So like all the kids, and I bring kids up on stage and. So it's just more of a,
it's more kid friendly.
How cool is that? Because my nephews always complain they're big fans of comedy, but they never get to see comedy shows.
Yeah.
And they're 10 and 15 now, or 11 and 15. And so they've expressed interest in coming. When they found out I was going to have you on as a guest, they're like, we want to go to that comedy show. So, well, they're in San Diego, so they can drive down and see that. But I think that's great because as a kid, I grew up on Ray Stevens and Weird Al, and we had
clean options in just in the comedy music venue, but not so much in stand-up.
Yeah.
So it's a great.
Yeah, Ray Stevens was my grandmother for one Easter bought me Ray Stevens Cracking Up tape, I think, and I wore that thing out.
I still love it. I listened to, this was a couple years ago in a condo. I made the other comedians listen to It's Me Again, Margaret.
Yeah.
And they were cracking up. They're like,
Yeah.
who is it? What is this? It's like, it's an old, I grew up in Missouri, or I lived in Missouri for a while, so it's just good, clean fun.
Yeah, and it's, I love Ray, but I think Ray, this is just what I heard, because I wrote to him once.
Was he like a wife beat or something?
No, but he's not, he wrote, Everything is Beautiful,
Yeah.
like he wrote that song. And I think he
And that is
is
big hit.
just a little bit, it was, definitely one of them, but I think he's a little bit like, I want to be known for that, not Mississippi Squirrel Revival.
That's
You know what
his
I mean?
best song.
Right. And so, like, I wrote to
Squirrel
him,
went to
and I
church.
just said, I sent him a CD that had one of my songs, and I just said, I'm always a huge fan. I do comedy songs. I love how clean you keep things, and I go, I'm going to be, and I was actually in Missouri. I was going to be, and he was performing in Branson, and I was like, I'm going to be there, and I would love to, just if I could just say hi and shake your hand after the show, that would just mean a lot to me, because, you've inspired my career. And I just got this one-line email back that said, Ray does not accept unsolicited submissions, which it wasn't a submission, and then it says, and Ray does not meet anybody after the show.
We're trying to give Ray Stevens songs, Grant.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, he doesn't need your.
That's
no.
not what I was trying to do. But and then I talked to somebody who had
Soul-crushing,
worked with
though.
him, and they just said the comedy songs are his bread and butter, but he wants to be known more as like kind of a serious songwriter.
Well, we
I was like,
invite
oh,
Ray
okay.
Stevens on the show to defend himself.
That would be awesome. I'll be in the front row. He can yell at me.
He's one of those that I'll just let the idea in my head that I have go. I've never seen his show in Branson. I don't want anything to change the little kid version of him
Yeah.
in the '80s. Just that.
Well, don't
leave it at that. I'm not going to email.
If
him.
you look at his more recent stuff, like he is super conservative, and all his songs are like super conservative.
Uh-oh.
And like I watch him, and it's like, holy moly! Like
Oh,
this
no.
is like he would do songs about Obamacare and like about hating it, and It's
Well, maybe I will email him. I got some song suggestions for you.
It's really interesting to see how political he's gotten in his
Well, I mean,
later
it's not
years.
surprising. Given his
demographic.
I'm not surprised. And he's getting to that age.
Yeah.
He's just a musical comedian of a certain age.
Yeah, but he's
writing what
right
he
now.
knows.
Like I follow him on Facebook and on Twitter and stuff, and right now he's building like a dinner theater, like in it's either Nashville or Memphis. And I was like, I may have to go out and see a show if I know he's, because I also feel like I got to go see him once. Like even if he's singing this hating Obama song.
We're building a wall.
Yeah.
Like, shoot.
Yeah, his whole that song was like, if you like your plan, you can keep your plan. But it was all about how you can't keep your plan.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, my grandparents would be so happy. I can't wait. They'll just fall in love with him all over again. You wanna go for two? What you got?
Sure.
Play us another one.
Well, this is the song. The song that I sent to him, just saying like, oh, this is my. Sure, it's Nursery Rhyme Lawyer. That's it. Yeah. This was actually another one that came out of substituting kids, because I'd bring my guitar in. And I was like, oh, I could sing nursery rhymes to this thing. And then I started thinking about nursery rhymes, and I was like, oh, they're pretty violent. So then this song came out of that. So it goes like this.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't get him a dime. But I could. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch themselves a pail of water. They fell down and we sued everyone, including the hill owner's daughter. If you are a nursery rhyme and you're in trouble all the time, want to put your wife in a pumpkin ride, I can't get you peace of mind, 'cause my service is one of a kind. I'm the nursery rhyme lawyer.
Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet. Then that spider came out to play. We served that arachnid with a restraining order. Now he must be at least 200 yards away. Blackbirds baked in your pie. Boy kissed you and made you cry. Your cow jumping in the sky. Crazy thinking that he can fly. Give my services a try and see what a good boy am I. Well, my ex-husband, that crooked old man, ran off with some floozy gardener and left me living at home in a shoe with 20 kids. Well, I didn't have any idea what to do, so I called the nursery rhyme lawyer, and in just 1 week he found that miserable scumbag of a man and had him paying child support. I live in a booth now and have a summer sandal on the lake. Thanks, nursery rhyme lawyer. If your cupboard is bare, I'm gonna be there. Dish right away with your spoon, I'll get it back soon. If you've lost your sheep, there's no need to weep. Someone's stealing your tarts, don't let it break your heart. If your bridge is falling down, I'm not gonna be around. You know who I am. I'm the nursery rhyme lawyer. Yeah, I jump over candles for a living, and I'm usually, pretty nimble and quick. But one day I slipped in a little puddle of wax, and I burnt myself pretty badly. So I called the nursery rhyme lawyer, and he was able to get me workman's comp in no time flat. Thanks, nursery rhyme lawyer. Yeah, my little lamb followed me to school one day. When we got there, all the boys and girls just laughed and laughed at him all day long. So I called the nursery rhyme lawyer, and we were able to file defamation of character suits against them, and I haven't heard so much as a peep since. Thanks, nursery rhyme lawyer. I fell off a wall, and the nursery rhyme lawyer got me $1.2 million. There you go. Thank you. Thanks.
For the booth.
I will clap. There you go. Oh, it's genius.
That's hilarious.
Back again. That's great. Oh, there it is. There's the laugh. There it
Applause we were
is.
waiting for. Oh, I love the concept. Yeah. The nursery rhymes. I wrote
It's
a
so
song
violent.
about Cinderella. Like the story if it was from the stepmother's point of view, about kind of like a whiny little brat she was. But what a great song.
Thank you.
How long did it take you to write it? What did you start? Did you start with the chorus or the verses?
You know what I did was I was singing. I wrote it as a kid song first, where it's just the nursery rhymes. So it's just Jack and Jill went up the hill.
right.
So it's just the chords, and then I was like, oh well, if I'm going to write it, I'm going to use the same chords.
Why not?
And the same structure, and then just change the lyrics of the thing, explain why the lawyer is suing and all that stuff.
So do you usually, when you like write a new song, do you start with the tune or with the lyrics?
I'm not that strong of a musician, so it's always something lyrics first. And I actually find that I'm maybe not, in my mind, I'm just not, I'm not good at songwriting necessarily.
I'm very good at songwriting.
Well, thank you, but I just can't, I know those chords, like we were talking about the Barenaked Ladies chords. It's like I know those chords, and I almost feel like, oh, if I'm going to write a new song that doesn't sound, because all my songs like G, D, C, that's it. And thank goodness for the K-pop.
K-pop, it's a whole new key.
Yeah. But then, I feel like, I better learn how to play a new song. I better go find another new song to learn the chords to that is different than this, that I can change the chords. And I do a little bit. But I don't know, it's definitely lyrics first kind of thing, and then I try to find, because I have ideas for songs where it's just like, I haven't found the right chords that go with it, so, and I'm not actively out there
It's
looking
funny,
for them.
every time I learn a new chord, it's a new song. It's
Yeah.
new, because it's like, oh, that has a different feel to it. I was just Googling YouTube videos of I wanted a jazz chord that I didn't know, and I learned this one.
Yeah.
So I wrote this whole song about being tired all the time. because I
It sounds sleepy.
I just wanted to Google like, oh, what's a jazz chord I don't know, and then I learned this little jazz chord progression, and then it became a whole new song because I'd never had those chords before. There's no like all my chords don't sound tired.
Yeah. Well, and the I keep going back to Barenaked Ladies, but I was a fan for a super long time and like so into their music. Not that I'm not a fan now, but they had a song called Conventioneers that. And it's like this,
Yeah.
it's like a little lounge thing. And then as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, I'm gonna write my own song like that. Like that.
There's a style of it.
Yeah. So
Get a feel.
that inspired me. But it's, and then when I learned, which I still don't know fully, but I learned a couple bar chords, and I was like, oh, okay, all right. Like when somebody said it's like your first finger is like the capo.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. So I have written a few songs that have bar chords in them, but I'm still not like even when like my most recent song that was on Dr. Demento and stuff is called this song called Unfriend, the Facebook song, and it's like there is a bar chord in the middle, but like if I'm ever going to perform that, I need to spend a good like 5 minutes before I play it going, okay, it's this, like this is what it is, this is where it is, because I will go like as soon as I get to that bridge, I'll be like, I don't know.
Because it's muscle memory. You haven't. Yeah.
So,
We're all the same. We do the same things. You're like me. I'm like you.
Yeah, but thank you brought up YouTube. It's like, thank goodness there's a 12-year-old in Alabama who can show me how to do this, because I do not know how to do it.
I play the solo.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, you kid.
Why are you not famous?
Now they're giving me a tutorial on how to play that and then fix my email.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you? So how did you get into puppeteering?
I've always been a fan, and
You're a Muppets fan, I'm sure.
yeah. I remember like Sunday nights watching the Muppet Show on TV, and it never was like, this is what I'm gonna do.
Right.
Like
I don't. In our household, you weren't allowed to dream like that.
Oh,
You'd
really?
never say like, I'm going to work for them. No, you're not. You have a regular job.
But I always liked them. Like my grandmother bought me one, and I would.
Which one was it? Just
no. Well, it was like
generic Muppet.
Yeah, it was like they used to be more than they are now. But like it used to be like an airport gift. Like there'd be like kind of a kid store, like a gift shop. And they'd have a rack of puppets, and they were the puppets that had super long arms and feet with Velcro, so you could put them around your neck.
Yeah.
And so it looked like they were hanging onto your neck. So it was like one of those. It was a monster. She bought one for me and one for my brother, and I used that a lot. And then in college, I remember somebody, like one of my teachers, had one and brought it, and I was so fascinated with it, and I put it on and kind of could instantly do it and captivate people by doing it. And then she was like, oh yeah, just borrow it, just like bring it back at the end of the semester. And so I actually brought it back, and she was like, why is this part torn right here? And I was like, oh, it's just from use.
You
It's
loaned
not
your
from...
thing to a kid. You idiot.
Yeah. Well, I was a college kid, so.
Oh, okay.
But then yeah, like in 2000. I don't know, like early 2000s. I was like, I want to build a puppet. How do you build a puppet? And I looked online on the internet, and there was nothing, except I found that there was a book called The Foam Book.
It's got Jeff Dunlop's phone number in it.
Yeah, just call him up.
Jeff Dunlop, yeah.
Jeff Dunlop, yeah.
And but then that book showed me how to make puppets, and so I started making them, and I kind of got an interest into. They were kind of big, goofy puppets, but it gave me like an understanding, and then. And then the Jim Henson Company, they still owned the Muppets at the time, and they were doing a pilot for a show called America's Next Muppet, which was going to be sort of a American Idol type thing, but with puppeteers. And somebody knew that I made these puppets, and they were like, oh, could you come in and do these? Could you come in and be part of this? And I was like, yeah, sure. So
money.
I had this. Well, I don't think there was money, but.
Did you always just assume, though, at the beginning, there will be money?
I was just like, oh, okay. So I had this puppet that I built, and I remember that Jane Gutnick, who, unless you're a real Muppet nerd, you kind of don't know who, but she's the head of Muppet building. Like she is and has been like since Jim was around and everything. Like she's it. She's the top. And I remember that she was on the set. And we didn't really know what we were doing. We were all just kind of hanging out. And I had my puppet, and I had a plastic bag over it, because that's how I knew, that's how you store them, is you put a garbage bag over them. And she came up and she goes, "Oh, can I see your puppet?" And I was like, "Oh my God," because I built this puppet and I knew who she was. And she was so nice and so diplomatic. She just goes, "Wow, she's big." Like that's all. But like, and I'm just like, okay, well, she didn't tear it apart, you know. But yeah, it was like this big giant puppet. And then I put the puppet on my hand, and they said, "Walk through this curtain, and then when you walk out there, they'll take care of. You'll be taken care of. You'll know what to do because they'll instruct you." And I walk out onto the stage, and as far from where you are to me is Kermit, and then right down in front of me is Piggy, Gonzo, and Pepe. And so I was like, yeah. And then they were like, "Oh, you know," and so like I was talking as the character, which was a female character, Princess Sabrina was this dog, and they were like, "Oh, what are you going to do?" "Oh, I'm going to sing a song." And I actually sang a comedy song. My friend Carla Ulbrich, who is a hilarious comedy songwriter, has a song called "What If Your Girlfriend Was Gone?" And it's sort of like, "Oh, if your girlfriend was gone, would you like me?" Like, "What if she died in an explosion? Would you like?" It's a great song. And so I sang that. I had a little instrumental track of that, and I sang as Princess Sabrina. And I've only seen the sizzle reel once because it never went anywhere. But I've only ever seen it once, and you know, it's me singing with the puppet, and then like they cut to like Miss Piggy, Gonzo, and Pepe, and they're all like bobbing along with the song. And I was like, I'd love to show that to Carla, because Carla would just flip out, because it's the Muppets bobbing along to her song. But through then, like, I met people, and then I met Leslie Cora Rudolph, who is Abby Cadabby on Sesame Street. And she had me, like, we just started doing stuff together, and she recommended me for this show, Puppet Up, at the Jim Henson Company.
Okay.
And so I'd always been into it and kind of doing it on my own, but it was probably around 2007, 2006 that I started getting the official training. Like, this is your official Henson
You get the title
training.
puppeteer.
Yeah.
Not just a guy that plays with puppets.
Right.
And I ask, when like you're singing as a puppet as opposed to singing as yourself, is there like more freedom in being Princess
Sabrina.
like, because they can't see you, so you're.
Yeah. I think I don't. That's an interesting question. I think I don't necessarily, because it's more character voices. So you're saying, "Well, I'm going to sing like this," you know, whatever it is. So I don't think I'm as caught up in like, "Ooh, that's not the right note," you know, because it's a character. So it's just like, "Hey, he
it's
may
a
not
dog.
hit the, yeah,
no
he
one's
may
gonna
not
think
hit the
that
right."
dog can't sing that well.
Right. And so, but I think it's also freeing, and I think I actually maybe do sing better with the puppet on, because I'm more in a character as opposed to just me singing.
Maybe
where I'm
less
just like-
inhibitions.
Yeah. Well, that's why puppets are used in therapy, right?
I did not know that.
Well, yeah, puppets.
need to
Tell
talk
me
to my
if
therapist
the puppet
and have her grab some.
yeah.
What are you doing, Janine? Get some puppets.
Yeah, because the puppets will say things that you won't say, you know. So you can hide behind the puppet. It's
Sorry,
not you
I
saying
threw
it's
the
the
puppet
puppet.
again. Stop throwing those puppets. How did you get skip to the wrestling? And I know that I saw on Facebook your incredible collection of WWF
Figures.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my one
They're
crazy
insane.
obsession.
If anybody is a WWF wrestling fan from the 80s, go to Grant's Facebook page. I think it's, what is it? Just
Yeah, Mr. Grant B. Yeah, Mr. Grant B is
Okay.
the thing. Yeah.
But they're,
Oh no, Toaster Boy is my personal one. Yeah, Toaster Boy. That's where they are.
How are you still single? No, but the rest of they're not the action figures.
Well, they're big rubber figures from the 80s.
Yeah, I remember them. And
Yeah.
I got to have like one, maybe two.
They're big,
and I
heavy
loved
rubber
them.
action figures. Yeah.
And you have all of them.
I have
You the
a
best.
lot of them.
The best. They're insane. So were you?
That's my retirement.
Were you a big fan?
Yeah. My
Really?
dad.
You do ringside announcing.
Yeah, my dad took me to like I remember being in fourth grade, fifth grade or something, and WrestleMania had just happened, and I kind of didn't know about
What
it.
year was this?
Well, it was like 85 or something. Yeah.
Those were good WrestleManias back then.
Yeah.
That's when it was real.
And all the kids came in the next day, and they were like, this one kid had gone to WrestleMania, and he had a program, and everyone was standing around like, what is this? Like, what is this? And then I must have mentioned it at home. My dad was like, I remember for a week, my dad's like, you and I are going someplace Sunday. And I was like, oh, where? And he was like, well, you're going to have to try and guess where it is. And I was like, and then he's like, oh, we're gonna go see Hulk Hogan, and I was like, what? And like that was like really, like hugely inspiring. That kicked off my fandom, is what I mean. So
There was nobody bigger back then. Yeah.
Obsessed with wrestling.
Who did he wrestle that day?
Well, I don't remember, but I remember that Roddy Piper was on the card. And when we were leaving, my dad's like, do you want a shirt? And I said, yeah, I want a Hot Rod shirt for Roddy Piper. My dad's like, I brought you to see Hulk Hogan, and you're going to get a Hot Rod shirt? And it's just, I love the bad guys. Like, I just thought he would, and he was like really bad then, and I thought he was hilarious.
He had a better T-shirt, too.
Yeah.
I mean, Hulk always ripped his off.
Yeah, why did you
That
wear
one's
that?
going to last. That one's clearly rippable.
Yeah.
That was a really cool T-shirt.
Yeah.
Roddy Piper.
So, yeah, and then I got to work, he came and worked with the wrestling that I do. He came like a month before he passed away. He came and worked with us. So, and I met him a couple times before, but just he's like a super nice guy. Roddy Piper is awesome.
I hear Jake the Snake's doing stand-up, and I'd love to meet
Yeah.
him. So it's a possibility
Here
that
at
I
Flappers.
could meet him.
He's occasionally.
Yeah, I gotta make sure and make that happen. I was a huge fan. I had all the WWF magazine pictures, just taped to my wall. It was real creepy because my mom painted my room pink, and then there's just like pictures of these glistening wrestling men. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it though. Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and their feud over Elizabeth. That was heartbreaking for me. That was tough.
Yeah.
That was rough.
But see, like during that time, I was like, who cares? What's Honky Tonk Man doing? Like, I loved all those guys. Like,
The bad guys, yeah.
yeah. When I was in 6th grade, I remember we had career day. And you had to come dressed as what career you wanted. And I came dressed as Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South.
That's hilarious.
Because that's who I wanted
love
to be.
Jimmy Hart.
Like, Jimmy Hart was just like my end-all be-all.
You're living
of-
your dream then. You got to grow up and live your dream.
Well, a little bit, yeah. And he was a musician, so I got to do his. Like one of my, on my YouTube channel, you can see a video of me and Jimmy Hart singing "Eat Your Heart Out, Rick Springfield," which is one of his
Punch you in the
songs.
face. Like I've
one of
been
his
holding on to that this
greatest
whole
songs.
interview. Just the whole time, I just want to punch you in the face.
Well, you
stupid
can
life, doing
wait till
everything.
afterwards.
He was like the coolest kid in the '80s, though. You grew up to be a Muppet and
Love it.
be ringside.
Be ringside wrestling.
Yeah, and meet Weird Al and stuff. Be a Dr. Demento. That's awesome. Yeah. This was a fun interview. You're just awesome. You know that you're awesome? Yeah, you should.
Thank you for telling me.
Do you have a third? You got a third song in the old bank for today?
Sure. I like this. This song. This song is, and I'll play this. This is my favorite song to play live. But especially if, because there's some times where crowds just, it's like, we're not into you. We don't know what you're
Like
doing.
this crowd?
This crowd right here, right now. It's like, we don't know what you're doing. We're not into you. We're not into, and I think that happens with every comedian. You can get up on stage and they're just not into you. And if there is a crowd like that, I will play this song as therapy. But a lot of times I'll just play it because I like playing the song. And you can join in too if you figure out the chorus, but I can't even tell you what this is. I go down to the grocery store and I walk right in and throw the food on the floor, and the store manager comes up to me and he says, I'm sorry son, you're gonna have to leave. And I said, screw you, Mr. Store Manager. Screw you. Screw you, Mr. Store Manager. You can't tell me what I can and can't do. I go down to the bank downtown and I walk right in and pull my pants right down, and the bank manager comes up to me and he says, I'm sorry son, you're gonna have to leave. And I said, screw you, Mr. Bank Manager. Screw you. Screw you, Mr. Bank Manager. You can't tell me what I can and can't do. Late at night, I get out of bed and I go stand right next to my roommate's head, and he opens his eyes and he looks up at me and he says, get away from me, you sicko freak. And I said, screw you, Mr. My roommate. Screw you. Screw you, Mr. My roommate. You can't tell me what I can and can't do. Ooh, screw you. Thank you very much. Screw you. Thank you. It's okay. It's all right. It's a podcast.
Well, where can everybody, where can we see you next?
Thank you.
Delayed. Always delayed.
They're watching the live stream, so the clapping is delayed.
Oh, that's and if anybody is watching the live stream, thank you.
Yes,
And
thank
keep
you.
doing that.
Sorry I haven't been looking at the camera.
I forgot it was you.
Yeah.
I will be doing Puppet Up Uncensored June 17th at the Jim Henson Company lot here in Hollywood.
So we expect.
Oh, it's for adults. Yeah, it's not for
Yeah.
kids. It's not for kids.
Muppet
You will,
nipples?
you will see some naked puppets. You will see it. But we take suggestions from the audience, so it gets very blue. So that's why
Okay.
we say uncensored.
Oh yeah, well, every time, like I've seen so many improv shows. We just need to suggest dildo.
Yeah,
Every
exactly.
time,
Yeah.
every time.
Well, we did the show in Vegas last summer, and the first suggestion was always like prostitute. Like it was every night. It was like, okay, we got it. We did
Well,
that.
it's Vegas. There's only like 3 things.
Right.
Cards, prostitutes.
So that's yeah, and you can go to puppetup.com. My website is mrgrant.com, so just mrgrant.com.
So much easier than trying to spell your last name.
Yes, which is horrible. And then SaturdayMorningMedia.com is all the shows I create, like all the podcasts and all that stuff. So if you like family-friendly stuff, you can go there and check it out.
Fantastic. And on Twitter and Instagram.
Oh, yeah,
and
sure.
All of your social media.
On Twitter, I am Toaster Boy, which is a name that a DJ in San Francisco said about me once when she played one of my songs on the air. She was like, "Oh, it's Toaster Boy."
Where did throwing toasters come from? Just
It is such a long, boring story. But
That's what podcasts
are, I think.
I was an RA at the dorms at Cal State Long Beach my senior year, and I was writing these songs, and I was trying to write songs that would be funny and get played on the radio, or on Dr. Demento. That was my goal, was to get played on Dr. Demento.
Yeah.
And the first, first kind of band name, or the name of my act, was Headhunter Country, because I had been a Jungle Cruise skipper at Disneyland. And I thought, like, oh, Headhunter Country, that's a funny little comedy. But then I started getting like some comments where it's like, well, it's a little racist. I was like, oh, okay, I don't see this. But I was like, okay, I got to change it. So anyway, at the time, I was just listening to things that people say in casual conversation that would make good band names.
Okay.
And I was just keeping a list of them. And I was an RA, and one of the other RAs was talking about these 2 roommates who were fighting with each other. And the coordinator goes, well, how bad are the fights? And he goes, well, it's not so bad that they're throwing toasters yet, but it's pretty bad. And I was like, there's my name right there.
Throwing toasters.
Throwing
On
toasters.
Instagram and Twitter.
Twitter is Toaster Boy.
Toaster
Instagram, it is Throwing Toasters. Just because I had Toaster Boy, and then I was like, I'm never going to use Instagram, and I got rid of it. And then somebody snapped up the name. So.
I think God is asking for you to do the RA song. That's Barbara Holiday, everybody, on the back mic.
I don't know if I can remember the RA song. It's been so long since I played it. He sits alone in his room with his head in his hands, contemplating his doom. He tries to get up, make it out that door, but he just can't do it, 'cause all the kids on his floor have glued his door shut. He can't get out, and you can hear the kids laugh as he starts to shout, yeah, I am the RA, let me out of here. I am the RA, this really isn't fair. He's always there to save the day, but tell me who will save the RA? He gets free room, he gets free board. He also gets pornographic pictures of girls and animals glued to his door. It really happened. Looks for his keys, they can't be found. Then I don't know. I haven't played the song. Yeah, I am the RA. Thank you. There you go. That's good enough. You can find it on YouTube. That's one of the greatest things. I did that song, and then a group of RAs like made a music video for it, and it's like one of the coolest things in the world. That's these
Where
group of
can we
RAs.
find this video?
Just search for it. I searched the RA song on the YouTube, and it came up. Yeah. So.
Well, and help me with your last name.
Baciocco.
Baciocco.
Yes.
Grant Baciocco, Mr.
Kristen, thank you.
Grant. Aw, man, thank you for coming on the show. I'd
My
like
pleasure.
you to come on more often and more frequently.
I am right down the street.
I
will
know.
come
I'm
down.
going to have you come in, I think, and guest host when we have a single guest.
Sure.
Just because if you're bored.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, it would help out tremendously. And you guys can find us on Songs in the Key of Funny on YouTube. We're also on Facebook. I'm Kristen Key. My new music comedy album comes out June 30th, so check that out. And thank you for watching. This is Kristen Key and Grant Baciocco.
Thank you, everybody.
Songs in the Key of Funny.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go again. Okay. All right, of the three, that's definitely in the top two.
Wow.
Yeah.